I'm Larry Fedoruk, and this is I Was 8. We are well into Season 3 of my personal journal podcast. Be sure to find me again next week, when Dad probably should have asked Mom first. But now, toy cars. Yes, more toy cars for Larry. I Was 8.
Season 3, Chapter 10. The Racing Set.
If you've been following my podcast, you know that when I was 8, I was obsessed with cars. Loved cars. Most of my toys were cars. At least the good ones. I had the complete Car Wheels collection. These ridiculous poker chip-sized tokens with a picture of a car on one side. Collect all 200. I did. I also loved real cars. I knew all the makes and models. Our town had a Ford dealership, and late August, early September was when the new ones came out. During that time, I'd be downtown every day, just in case this was the day the new cars arrived on the big car truck. When they did, a crowd formed quickly to watch the unload, and I would wish our family would get one of those shiny new Galaxies. Imagine riding in a Galaxy. We had a Strato Chief. It always smelled like dust. But a Galaxy, well, that would be heavenly, 'cause that's where heaven is, in the Galaxy. Strato Chief? What is that even? One summer day, I was flipping through the Sears Catalog. The Sears Catalog is what we used to call Amazon. And on a side note, how stupid was Sears? They already had us scanning for items, adding to cart, and ordering for home delivery 50 years ago. Somehow it never occurred to them to translate that into modern technology. You know why? Idiots. Never overestimate the acuity of those who run big companies. But where was I? Oh yes, flipping through the Sears Catalog. And not just any Sears Catalog. The Christmas Catalog. Make your Christmas wish dreams come true. Well, here's women's undergarments. Underwear. Wouldn't be wishing for those ladies for Christmas for a few years yet. Let me see. Appliances, shoes, hats, tools. Let's get to the meat of this thing. Here we are. Toys. And there it was. The Twin Pikes Peak Mountain Slot Car Racing Set. The Twin Pikes Peak Mountain Slot Car Racing Set. What a long name. Let's just call it Best Toy Ever. A long straightaway of black racing asphalt that spiraled up to a Pikes Mountain peak. A long, high straightaway along the top of the mountains, then spiraled down the other peak back to the straightaway, and the crowd goes wild as Larry leads lap number 1 of the Twin Pikes Peak Mountain Slot Car Racing Set 500. He guns it. Listen to those engines roar. And look at these two kids in the catalog racing cars against each other. They are having more fun than kids are even allowed to have. The Twin Pikes Peak Mountain Slot Car Racing Set. Page 376. Let's lock that in the memory. And let's begin to figure out how to get the Twin Pikes Peak Mountain Slot Car Racing Set from page 376 of the Sears Christmas Catalog to under the Larry Christmas tree in December. Never too early to begin the Christmas wish hype. Let me explain at this point that slot car racing sets were about as high-tech as we had in the day. Each set came with a power pack. You plugged it into the wall and then attached it to your racing set. It was now electrified. The track had a slot that ran through it, and the corresponding peg on the bottom of the racing car fit into that slot. The track also had some fine wire on it. The car bottoms had small metal slats that received a charge from the wire and fired up these little turbines that turned the wheels. It was all activated by a control stick that sent the charge from the power pack to the track and then to the car when pushed down. For a kid, it was almost like driving a racing car. Oh, I have to have this. But how? How to get this? Well, obviously, step one, write a letter to Santa. But this was too important to just have one plan of attack. Santa, good guy and all, but let's be honest, he'd let me down here and there over the years. I mean, come on, I clearly asked for a real jet fighter, like from the Air Force in the movies, and I got an airplane model kit. Are you kidding me? Are you not reading the letters? Are you drunk? And listen, I didn't hold it against him or anything. I just thought that for this toy, I needed alternatives. Basic kid ploy number 2, hype your parents. Piece of cake, that. I was good at it. By the time I'd be through with them, they'd each want a twin Pikes Peak Mountain slot car racing set for themselves. But would they pull the trigger and roll out the folding money to buy one for me? Hard to tell. Parents were funny that way. They would clearly understand what you wanted, but yet somehow get you something else. Like I distinctly asked if I could pour Pepsi on my Frosted Flakes, and Mom simply took the milk out of the fridge and put it on the table. What? I know you heard me. Tactic number 3, therefore, was to go right to the big guy. I would pray to God for the Twin Pikes Peak Mountain slot car racing set, a.k.a. best toy ever. I had been told that you weren't supposed to pray for things like that. You prayed for good and for health and no war and that no kid should go to bed hungry. I did pray for those things, but I also thought, how bad would it be to ask for something specific for myself? I wouldn't do it on Sunday in church when everyone was praying and God had all these requests and calls coming in. I'd wait till, like, say, Tuesday afternoon, when he likely wasn't that busy, and because most prayer is silent, it would be just between me and him. Only we would know that I prayed for a toy. I was counting on the God-kid confidentiality clause. And ending wars and famine sounded like big jobs. What was I asking for? Get this toy from the catalog to my house. How easy was that? He wouldn't even have to do it himself. He could get one of his saints to do it on their day off. Oh, and to sweeten the deal, when I prayed for the racing set, just like with Santa, I promised to be good. You want me to be good? How about a little reward then? I know, you're supposed to be good for goodness sake. Goodness is its own reward, but why don't we call this like a little Christmas bonus for all the hard work during the rest of the year? As much as I badgered my folks, Santa and the Lord, it was important not to tell anyone else what I wanted, as in not your friends, 'cause then they might want one too. And what if they got the last one and you got nothing? That's not being selfish, that's just being practical. Let's just keep this in our little circle. Mom, Dad, God, Santa. Thank you. I can't remember who came through. Christmas morning, I was so excited, I forgot to look at the from part on the gift tags. I was only looking for 4, accompanied by the name Larry. For Larry. Ooh, for Larry? I ripped open the biggest box first, and there it was. The vista I remembered from page 376 of the Sears Christmas Catalog. The image I had viewed every day for the last 123 days. The twin Pikes Peak Mountain slot car racing set. First reaction? Well, joy, certainly, but right after that? Why is this box only slightly bigger than the Monopoly set box? By my catalog estimation, the racing set should be about 60 feet by 30 feet. It would have to be set up in our backyard. Also, it obviously didn't come with the racing helmets like the kids in the catalog had. On the box, the dreaded words, "Assembly required." Dad? After breakfast, Dad and I spread the pieces out over the living room, a mess of track, controller sticks, racing cars, 4 pieces of colored cardboard. The colored cardboard were the twin Pikes Peak Mountains. Insert tab A into slot B. Dad snapped the track pieces together, and then we ran them up the mountain, across the back, and down the other mountain. Dad got the extension cord from the garage, and we plugged it in, attached the controllers, and put the cars on the track. And by the way, not 60 feet by 30 feet. The entire racing set would probably fit on our piano bench. Okay, Dad, I'll be the blue car, you be the yellow car, and we'll race. Push down on the stick, Dad. Give it gas. Go. And with that, the 2 cars sped off the starting line, and in less than half a second were crashed against the cardboard of the first Pikes Peak. We tried again, same result. We couldn't get the cars to travel at any speed but breakneck. I deduced that it was Dad. Dads don't know how to play with toys properly. I'd wait for later when my friend Philip came over. Then we could race. When Philip saw the racing set, his jaw dropped. He wanted the racing set and didn't get it. He got a car model kit. Turns out I probably got the last one. Thank you, Mom, Dad, God Santa. I explained the basic principles: extension cord, electrified, turbines, push down the control stick, racing, off we went. Crash each time. Turns out the twin Pikes Peak Mountain slot car racing set had 2 speeds, 0 and 1,000 miles an hour. The cars constantly crashed. We couldn't complete a lap. We couldn't get by the first mountain. Philip and I finally gave up, and we unsnapped all the straight pieces and decided to put them together so that we could just have drag races against each other. This was fun for like 11 minutes, and then we thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool to elevate the last part of the track to see which car would fly the farthest? This killed another 2 minutes. Then we figured out that if we set up a wall of blocks, the cars could crash through them. Oh, that was fun also. Philip discovered that if you just lift the back wheels of the car off the track slightly and push down the controller stick, that the back wheels and engines would whir, and then you slowly dropped it, and the car took off like a rocket. Then it could really jump and crash those blocks. We did this so much, the cars actually began to be too hot to touch. So we threw everything back in the box and went to the kitchen for snacks. When we came back, the box was smoldering slightly. I freaked out at the smoke and yelled for Dad, who came in and threw a glass of water on it. And that was it. The adventures of the Twin Pikes Peak Mountain slot car racing set. From ripping through the Christmas paper to complete destruction, maybe 2 hours. Also, I had no other new toys to play with. This was it. I'd bet it all on the racing set. I guess I could spend the rest of Christmas Day trying on the socks my grandma gave me. No. So Philip and I got dressed and went tobogganing on the sliding hill until we each had to go home for dinner. That night I hoped, maybe even prayed, that the next day the twin Pikes Peak Mountain slot car racing set would be back up and racing like new. It wasn't. As a matter of fact, I think the next time I plugged it in, a fuse blew in the house. I remember the box of parts were under my bed for weeks and months, and then not. Like other childhood dreams, it was in the landfill. Although I had seen the burning at the summit of the mountain, I did never get there. I kept crashing on the first turn, so I took no lesson from the mount. Yea, and verily kept on requesting assembly-required toys as a kid, and as a parent bought them for my kids. And now they too are in the landfill, perhaps in the future forming a mountain of their own. Till then, the dream lives on, that one day I might actually get it together.
Thanks for listening to I Was 8, a weekly podcast voiced, written, and produced by Larry Fedoruk. This podcast is available on most major platforms, or check out the I Was 8 YouTube channel. Larry Fedoruk, that's Fedoruk, can be reached at larryfedoruk37@gmail.com.